Hello,
my name is Peter Room. I am part of the diagnostic team at Customed, and I would like to explain to you today how you can configure the printout in the Holter ECG. The information I am providing you today refers to Custo Diagnostic 5.6 and higher, because we have completely revised the configuration of the printout, starting from this version.
überarbeitet haben, beziehungsweise die Konfiguration des Ausdrucks komplett überarbeitet haben.
We have significantly cleaned up the configuration, but we have placed a settings menu next to each single configuration item, so that on the one hand, you have a better structured menu. On the other hand, you have the option to make detailed configurations via the individual settings for each item. So compared to previous versions, you have a lot more possibilities to define a printout exactly to your needs and wishes.
So dass Sie im Vergleich zu den älteren Versionen hier viel mehr Möglichkeiten haben, einen Ausdruck ganz nach Ihren Bedürfnissen und Ihren Wünschen festlegen zu können. Wenn Sie in die Einstellungen...
If you go into the settings for the printout, you can first have a look at the type of printout. There you can define a standard printout, but also define the print order or PDF export.
Export definieren. Wenn Sie jetzt auf der linken Seite wieder bleiben,
If you stay on the left side and go to the next line, you can see that you can configure the printout for a 24-hour ECG or for a multi-day ECG, which means an ECG that takes longer than 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days. The flash recorder can record up to 7 days. You can define the printout for Event ECG, and you can use the tab Other Pages for special cases. There you can define the content originating from a so-called combined evaluation. Combined evaluation means that a Holter ECG recording is combined with an ambulatory blood pressure measurement. This means you create both examination types in parallel with the same patient. Then you can print additional information in the Holter ECG, originating from the ambulatory blood pressure measurement, such as, for example, the blood pressure trend or blood pressure information for the individual examples. If you are in the 24-hour evaluation now, and you want to get certain content, you can determine in the fields, the lines below, which content you want to have in detail. You can, for example, determine if you want to have a summary, an hour table, examples from this ECG, marked episodes, content from atrial diagnostics or ANS diagnostics.
Episoden haben, wollen Sie Inhalte aus der Vorhofdiagnostik oder der vegetativen Diagnostik haben.
You can select or deselect all this, and in the same way as you select or deselect it here, this content will appear on your printout, exactly in this order. On the right there is a button, Settings, for each field, each element, and by clicking there you can define this special element, this special content. For example, you can specify in the settings if you want to have a table and decide if you want to have it in standard or numeric design. Whether or not you want to have the report text, the trend format, how the particular ECG example of the summary has to look like, amplitude, writing speed. You can set all these things.
Amplitude, Schreibgeschwindigkeit, all diese Dinge können Sie einstellen.
On the right side of the settings menu, you can define the print design. Here you have the option Optimize Page Calculation. And if you select this, the individual printed pages you create will be maximally filled. For example, if the page is still half empty after having printed the summary and you select Optimize Page Calculation, further content from the next menu item, Hour Table, will be supplied, provided that this content still fits on the page. The effect is that the pages are maximally filled. On the bottom on the left side, the number of pages is indicated. There you can see that maybe there will be fewer pages if you optimize the page calculation.
Wenn Sie Ihre Seitenberechnung optimieren, dass das möglicherweise dann weniger Seiten werden. Außerdem haben Sie
In addition, it is possible to determine the order. In a multi-day evaluation, you can, for example, determine if you want to have the content of the first day printed sequentially, and then the content of the second day, one after the other. However, you can also select the order by group. In this case, all the summaries, which means those of the first, second and third day, will be printed first, then all the hour tables over the individual days, etc. You can thus determine the order of the content. In addition, you can determine if the day of the week is to be printed and indicated by activating Print Day Title At. For example, whether the 24th of August was a Thursday or Friday.
der 24.8. ein Donnerstag oder ein Freitag war.
And here too, you can make maximum configurations for the ECG examples you have selected. You can set the amplitude. You can specify whether or not to include the ambient ECG, whether or not to indicate the RR intervals in beats per minute. All that is possible and is configurable completely and in detail. And you can customize this individually to a maximum extent. It is furthermore possible to print additional information on the report by means of the last menu item on the right side. However, this only relates to HL7 systems. This means that if you create a Holter ECG order in an HL7 system, you submit a clinical question there and have additionally submitted information as to the patient's medication. You can call up this information in the printout and print this information. However, as mentioned, this only relates to hospital information systems, or finally, HL7 systems.
Also auf ein HL7-System letztlich.
If you have configured the printout according to your needs, you certainly want to know how it will look like. To this end, press the button Print Preview, and you will receive a preview of the printout as you configured it. Check if everything is okay. If something is not yet the way you want it to be, go back and change the settings in the configurations. Consult the print preview again, and if you are satisfied with the preview, click on Print, and you will get a paper printout or a PDF export exactly as you have configured it. Thank you very much.
Genau so, wie Sie sich das für sich konfiguriert haben. Vielen Dank.